Hey guys, I am officially back from Cabo. It was amazing. If anyone has ever been to Cabo before, you know we stayed right on the water, and it was like every morning we woke up to like these waves crashing against the rocks. It was amazing. But anyways, I'm technically still in vacation mode. We're here in Clearwater, Florida, visiting some family before we head back to work. And I haven't been doing much this week on just anesthesia on my Instagram page, but I just still wanted to get you guys a video this week just on the topic of anesthesia. And there was one topic that I kind of have been thinking about a lot, something that was really important to me when I got to anesthesia school. So today I'm going to do just a quick video on, got my little notes written down, things to consider when you're looking for a job. And I would say some of you might be thinking, I just started school or I'm just getting into school, so I have plenty of time. And honestly, I would start thinking about it now. Start at the very beginning of school, make a list of things that are important to you. And I do want to say I am sitting outside because it's so beautiful, but the wind is kind of loud sometimes, so I'll try to speak up so you can hear me. Okay, so things to consider while you're thinking about taking a job. So I guess my first thing I would say before you consider any of these questions I will pose for you is, what kind of quality of life do you want? Are you single? Are you like looking to hustle, to really specialize in cardiothoracic, maybe just really big cases? You can work at a level 1 trauma center. That, if you're single, you don't have a, family life to really commit to, that might be a great fit for you. If you're a mom like me, where you're looking to work full time, have a career, but you still want to be home with your kids some, you need to think about that as you're looking into places to work. Like, so what are your hours going to be like? How flexible are they? Do you work a lot of overtime? Do you have to work a lot of call shifts? So first determine the quality of life that you will have. Maybe both you and your spouse are in the medical field, so you both will work long hours, and that's okay too. So first I would start with, what kind of lifestyle are you looking for? Okay, and then I kind of made just a list of things to overall think of when you start clinicals as well. You can look at those places and kind of answer these questions for those locations. So, okay, so these aren't necessarily in order of what you should think of first, but the first thing I would look at when you start thinking about specific facilities is the overall morale of the coworkers, of the nurses, of the surgeons, of the docs you work with. And so for instance, there's one facility that we trained at in school, and the overall morale was pretty terrible. Like, we would go to these meetings once a week, and it was just always the CRNAs were complaining about the docs are complaining about CRNAs, it was just, the morale was bad. Like, people did not love going to their job. It was kind of a hostile environment. Being a student was literally torture. So it's funny, when we first all went through our first rotation there, we're like, we will never work here. This is like the worst place in the world. But at the end of the day, the amount of money they were offering, the incentives they offered, I had two classmates that actually took jobs there. So I would say, you kind of have to figure out what you're looking for. At the end of the day, they were looking for a certain price point, and, the overall morale wasn't super important to them. So decide how important that is to you. For me, I want to love my job. I want to love my work environment. I don't want drama. I just want it to be nice. So that was important to me. I was like, no way. Okay. So another one to think of, and I kind of touched on this, was your hours. What kind of hours are you going to do? Can you work 312s? Can you do 410s? Can you do 5/8s? Can you, like for me, I can work 3 to 4 days a week and be on call shifts at night or the weekend, and that covers my full-time hours. So that's like, I get 2 days off a week, so for me, hours were super important. Like, what kind of hours I was going to do. I didn't want to work crazy overtime. So that's something to think about. Obviously, salary is super important. I think our time is really valuable, and it's important for you to find a way to make every minute of yours be the most valuable possible. For me, when I'm away from my family working, I want to make the most amount for my time. My time is super important to me. And I think sometimes people view like wanting to make a lot of money as a negative, selfish thing. That's not true. Your time is super valuable. So make sure what you're being compensated for that time is appropriate to what you believe your time is worth. You go to some bigger cities, like here in Tampa, Clearwater, Florida, you make quite a bit less than you do in other places, because they say they pay you in sunshine, they pay you for the quality of life, the area you're living in, which was silly to me. But a lot of people want to live here, and a lot of people still come here. So, but consider that. Okay. And then also like compensations, what are the yearly bonuses, what are the benefits, how much time off do you get in that package? Usually they kind of have a package deal. Do you get a sign-on bonus? For me, I remember when I negotiated my job, I was like, I just want time off. I want to take, initially I was like, I want 2 months off in the winter. I want to travel for 2 months because we love to travel. And I was like, I don't want my sign-on bonus. I want 2 months off, January and February. And they're like, they kind of looked at me like, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. And they're like, okay. So they gave it to me. We leave in January, a week and a half into our time off. I emailed my boss and I was like, can I please come back to work? I kind of learned the hard way. Maybe, okay, that's not exactly what I'm looking for. But at the end of the day, you kind of have to figure out what you want. Okay, so next I would say look into the types of cases that facility does. Sorry, it's really windy. For me, I wanted to stay well-rounded in my practice. I wanted to not lose skills going to a community hospital. But it's actually it's like either or, because you can go to a really big hospital and have big skills in like fiber optics, intubation, a lot of really neat, crazy airway stuff. But then I trained at some bigger facilities where the CRNAs never did epidurals, and they never did spinals, or they never did nerve blocks, because it was such a big facility. It was focused on turnover, and it just wasn't time. If the time didn't make sense to have them do everything. Whereas at my community hospital, I do everything from start to finish. I decide what anesthetic, I'm doing a lateral hip. I can decide, do I want to do a spinal and do a MAC, or do I want to do a general? It's all up to me. And then I always do nerve blocks anytime I can, because I just believe that's best for the patient. And bigger facilities, if it's in their protocol, do it. If not, you don't get to decide. So that was kind of important to me too. So decide for you what kind of cases are important for you to keep experience with. I don't ever do open heart surgery because I'm at a community hospital. So that's something I don't have skills in anymore. I did a rotation, but I don't do consistently. So I feel like whatever job you get, you're going to maybe, I hate to say sacrifice, but you're going to sacrifice some skills. So decide what skills are important to you. Okay, next, I would say autonomy is a big thing discussed among CRNAs. So if you guys haven't figured out yet, there's this big political battle between CRNAs and anesthesiologists. And I think it's silly and I think it's unprofessional, but the reality is that's where we're at. So you have to decide if you can work well with anesthesiologists. A lot of places do like a supervision kind of layout where the anesthesiologist kind of like is more in a management role and oversees multiple rooms. I think for me, I really wanted to be autonomous, not because I have a problem working with anesthesiologists, but I feel like being able to be autonomous and making all of my decisions on my own would only further my knowledge and my practice and make me a stronger provider. So that's something to think about. A lot of my classmates that are at bigger hospitals, that's just kind of like what you have to suck up and deal with. And they have good working environments. It's great. I mean, I have friends that are anesthesiologists. Again, we're just different careers, and we're kind of merging into this where we have to kind of share the career a little bit. So just kind of figure out where you're at on that. You know, my coworkers now, where I'm at now, it's CRNAs only. There are no anesthesiologists at my hospital. And my CRNAs are like, I could never go work at a practice that had anesthesiologists. And I'm like, I really could. You know, it's not the end of the world. You know, a lot of places, they're very cordial and very respectful. And I think at the end of the day, it's your experience and what kind of provider you are. And you can earn that respect vice versa. So anyways, okay. I think overall too, you need to figure out, like for me, it was important to also take in consideration my family, my husband. While my career is important to me, to better myself, to become, a better mom, a good example to my kids and those around me, I also needed to take in consideration, my spouse and my husband and what kind of hours, time off, quality of life. So if you can't tell, quality of life was a super important factor for me. But other people are like, hey, I just want to grind for the next 15, 20 years for retirement. Like, I want to make the most bang for my buck. Good for you. Go after it. You're going to probably look into places that are more lucrative. But yeah, so those are some things I would think about if I were you. Obviously, you're in school right now probably, or looking to go to school. And so you have a lot on your mind and on your plate, but each clinical site you go to, keep that in mind. Man, I went to one facility where they let me do a lot of regional anesthesia, and I felt like my classmates kind of made fun of me because I was kind of a little bit of a bulldog with it. Like, I didn't care whose feet I stepped on. I wanted to do all the regional I possibly could because I loved it. I loved learning it. I loved doing it. I love hands-on. But like to this day, I still love it. And that's what I really want to excel in. So I have other classmates who are like, we could care less about regional anesthesia. We don't want to do that at all. So I feel like every person's different. Figure out what you want. Maybe write down some questions that'll help you decide. And as you go through your clinical rotations, you can kind of get more of an idea of what you want. So anyways, that's all I've got for today. I have been working on some stuff. I want to really dive deep into school for those of you that have not gotten into anesthesia school yet. I want to talk about what to expect, really go down deep, and then also how to succeed and do well. I feel like I had my ups and lows in school and it was hard. But looking back, I feel like I have some things that I feel like could maybe help you guys not be so stressed, because I had moments where it was very stressful and hard. So anyways, just a couple of things to think about. So I hope you guys are doing well in life and succeeding and going after your goals. I would encourage you, wherever you're at in life, keep your family, keep your faith, keep those things a priority, and don't lose sight of who you are, and do well in life. I say we are all products of our decisions, so make good decisions and enjoy life, guys. So anyways, until next time, check out my day in the life of anesthesia CRNA on my page. I've also done just a Q&A on a bunch of things anesthesia related, and my last video was just go on anesthesia school as well, just some general questions. So until next time, guys, drop me a DM, ask me any questions you want. I love hearing where you guys are at. I love hearing what you're working on. If you're in nursing school or applying to anesthesia school or looking for a job, ask me any questions. I love just being able to be an encouragement to you guys. So anyways, peace out. I'm going to enjoy a nice, beautiful day here in Florida before we go back. So see you later.